You know, I started out as a figurative painter. So I'm one of the few people that's gone from figuration all the way through to abstraction, which you can see in this exhibition. Usually people now start with abstraction or technological issues and then go from there. So my journey is like Kandinsky. I don't think my paintings are really all that abstract. I never thought they were. The stripe fascinated me because of its commonality. And I got it from a trip to Morocco. When I painted the stripes later on in my life, I started giving them the body and personality that I would have given an arm or a leg or a chair when I was a figurative painter. It makes a reference to landscape. It references it as a metaphor.
Scully, het werk van hem, dat kende ik eigenlijk van een aantal glorieuze ontmoetingen, zal ik het maar noemen. Dat ik steeds één enkel werk tegenkwam in een groot museum, meestal in Amerika. Elke keer stond ik ervoor en kon ik mezelf eigenlijk bijna niet toegeven dat ik het goed vond. Ik wilde het eigenlijk niet goed vinden. Misschien vond ik het alleen te mooi. Dat het bijna moeiteloos gemaakt leek te zijn. Het kwam eigenlijk pas bij mij binnen toen ik toevallig een keer in Zuid-Frankrijk op vakantie een sculptuurpark binnenkwam met het Château Lacoste, een aanbeveling voor iedereen. En daar stond een enorm, ja, bijna kolosachtig sculptuur van hem, gemaakt uit barokke natuursteen, waarvan de onderlinge kleuren eigenlijk vergelijkbaar waren met het soort schilderijen als we hier hebben hangen in de serie Doric, stapelingen. In die steen zat leven en daar kon je als het ware nog in terugkijken. En dat kun je in die schilderijen van Scully ook, door die lagen heen. Toen dacht ik opeens, ja verrek, het is gewoon hartstikke goed.
What I've got now is a very strong relationship to figuration in these paintings. And we were talking earlier about Willem de Kooning. And Willem de Kooning is very interesting to me. I went to America when I was a man, and de Kooning went when he was a man, when he was grown up. And his art, however American it became, always retained this humanistic quality, which you have in Europe, which I feel is very precious to me. I love my connection to Europe. Well, the Dorics are a love letter to Athens because the Persian Empire was trying to overtake the world.
Yeah.
And it was the Greeks that beat them back and had an opposing philosophy which we have benefited from. All the Doric paintings are based on the idea of 2 to 3, divided by 3, divided again by 2 and 3. So they're deeply temple-like.
You have this idea clear in your head?
Clear, and then I unload it. And when I make these, for example, I start here. I make them in 3 parts. They're separated because I want the relationship between this soft line, which is humanistic and poetic, and this disciplining cut. The nature of these 2 lines is very central to how you read these Doric paintings. And the inserts with the aluminum are just so beautiful. And you can interchange the inserts. This makes for a new kind of painting too. So the mechanization of these panels makes many more things possible. I got the idea really from printing. I started working in a print factory at 15. And the idea of the color on the metal eventually got into the paintings. I didn't know how many of them I would make. I thought I would make one. But I liked them so much, I made 22. Printing is a wonderful medium, of course. It makes communication possible and distribution of ideas possible. So these are made by etching on a plate that is covered in aquatint. And this is called spitbite. And you paint with acid, and you leave it for a minute, and you do this 6 times, and you get this beautiful edge, and which again contrasts to this edge. And the character of the edge and the border is very profound for me, because I don't like borders. You know, I'm not thinking in rules. I'm using this thing, which is the stripe, but I'm doing everything I can with it. You just have to read it a certain way. And you have to see the attitude behind it, because content is really attitude. Now, here's the thing about political art. In China, abstract art was illegal. You went to prison for it. This was about 25 years ago. And this proves that abstract art is dangerous. It's dangerous to autocracy because it makes people think. Whereas with overtly political art, you are directed. Whereas with my work, you are offered something that you can use. I mean, like, for example, this is the same thing again and again, but changing it so you can imagine it changing, and that's the idea behind this. I wanted to do something to capture my son, a child who stands, of course, for all children, because these are not realistic portraits of him, because they're like this. And the only way I could do this was to revert to figuration. And since I have a whole history of figuration, it was easy. And what was really surprising to me is that it was like riding a bike. So I have the iPhone photo of Oshin on the beach, like this big. Yeah. And I have the black, and I just stand there and draw it out, and it takes 5 minutes. After I painted all these, I noticed three things. That I did this curved thing. I kind of drew a line around him as if I was holding him. Secondly, usually what he's doing here is in his head. It's exactly what I do. There's no space for me between what's in my head and action. And Arthur Danto said this, because Arthur Danto really loved me like a son. I was attacked a lot in New York, you know, as an outsider, because my work is repetitious. Of course, you know, then they show their own repetitious artists. Like, I mean, is there anybody more repetitious than Barnett Newman? I have never seen an artist who just painted the same painting all his life. Anyway, so I'm criticized for that, criticized for being too European, and also, you know, I'm generally pretty defiant. And every time I was attacked in the press, Arthur would write a long article on me and publish it. Here is a perfect example of what I'm talking about. What's in his head is here. Isn't that nice?
This is your allegory on painting.
It's my allegory on painting. You're absolutely right, yeah.
Ik denk dat hij net iemand is van de generatie na de grote Amerikaanse colorfield schilders, na de pop art. Hij is net dus voor dat allemaal iets te jong geweest. Wij kenden dat, we dachten dat soort schilderkunst goed te hebben doorgrond. En wat die toevoeging dan was van hem, denk ik, is nooit echt aangevoeld hier in ons land. Terwijl het toch echt een schilder pur sang is. En ja, het is altijd overlooked, zou je kunnen zeggen. Het paste niet in een bepaalde helder omschrijfbare benadering. Het is vreemd, soms gaan dat soort dingen zo. En ik denk ook wel dat hij blij is dat nu in dit museum, waar de schilderkunst behoorlijk goed vertegenwoordigd is van nu, en dat we hem ook zo mooi kunnen tonen in het daglicht waar Nederland zo bekend om is. Niet in een kunstlichtzaal met mooie spotjes erop, maar echt gewoon met het barmhartige, onbarmhartige daglicht. Ja, ik ben er ontzettend trots op dat het voor het eerst hier is. Hè.
My project, really, apart from being a great painter, is to bring down the divisions in the world.
So that's political after all.
Yeah, I'm very political. And do you know about my flag paintings yet? I'll show you.
And that's your...
That's my son.
Ah, okay.
I took these because I wanted to show what was at stake.
Mm-hmm.
And I made that on the phone. I make drawings in this.
Yeah.
I painted 8 of these, and they're called Ghost, because America is becoming a ghost of what it was meant to be.
Yeah.
It's killing itself.
Yeah.
Oh, well, look, here's my studio. Here's a studio shot. That's how my studio looks. There's 2 flag paintings and a landline.
Yeah.
Right next to each other.
In mijn gevoel, en het blijft toch gevoel, het blijft letterlijk voelen, komt hier een heel aantal van dat soort elementen die je in zijn werk aantreft samen. Enerzijds dat gemak van het schilderen waar ik het over had, anderzijds de elegantie die in dat toch heel grove gebaar van schilderen tegelijk zit. En die stapeling waarin de transparantie van de kleur eronder nog steeds doorwerkt. Bijna als een 17e-eeuws schilderij. En misschien juist omdat ik Hollander ben ik ook wel gevallen voor die groene en die steenkleuren. Ja, ik vind het een geweldig werk. Ik ben ontzettend blij dat we dit hebben kunnen verwerven.